abilities. We're really there's that givingfirst.org website has been set up, and already we have $200,000 set up as a matching gift. So whatever money we raise from givingfirst.org this weekend will be matched. But I think really the stories are heartbreaking.
Absolutely, and we're hearing more of the stories. We want to hear more from you. I'm just getting word that we actually have a press conference that's going on right outside the apartment building where a lot of the police activity have been going on. This is James Holmes' apartment building. So let's go there right now so you can listen in on the latest.
It will be placed into sand trucks and taken to a disposal site. At that site, there'll be controlled detonation that occurs. Evidence will be collected, and we have experts on scene there when we enter that phase as well. During any of these phases, and as this day goes on, again, there may be controlled detonations. Keeping public safety in mind, we are going to do reverse 911 calls to let the community know that what to expect. We'll keep the media informed on what to expect. Also, shut down Peoria at those times as precautionary. We are confident in our evacuation to this point. Those buildings that have been evacuated, they remain that as such, and we're confident that this is a safe area now with the evacuation we have in place. If that changes, obviously we'll immediately address those issues. The third phase of this will, of course, go into the investigation part. This investigation is so in-depth. This brings another element from what was experienced at the theater, and so that'll be the third and final phase of what's happening today. We'll do our best to keep you informed on anything that changes, and if there's going to be controlled detonations or fires or whatnot.
Sergeant, what can you tell us about the timeline for this?
There's no timeline. As I can't give you an end time. We're hoping to get in there within the next hour. That's about the only time because we have no idea how long any of this is going to take. I can't put an end time on it because, of course, emphasize again the importance of public safety. It's safe right now with the evacuations. We don't need to rush anything, and we're going to do our best and just take our time to keep it as safe as possible.
How can you be destroyed by any fire, explosion, or water?
Excellent point. One of the things that we're also in consideration again is this investigation, and so we don't want to lose evidential value. Anything that's in there we're going to be using as evidence, so we're going to be very cautious of how we deal with things, how we take things out, and make sure that they're handled in the best manner for our investigation.
Do you think there's any chance that you'll be able to dismantle everything without any explosions? Is that the current goal right now? To try and get it all dismantled and out of there without any explosions that could damage evidence?
Again, if the experts that are involved can go about and do this safely without detonation, I'm sure that's what they would prefer. However, as far as what happens once they get inside, again, there's still unknowns. Keep in mind.
If you are just joining us, this is a live look at the media briefing going on. This is near the suspected gunman James Holmes' apartment on Paris between 16th and 17th. Authorities are telling us that they are sending out reverse 911 calls to area residents to keep them updated on what's going on. The evacuation is still in place right now. As we've been telling you, authorities are really concerned because they're calling this a sophisticated setup inside James Holmes' apartment, saying that it's booby-trapped, so they're being very careful trying to get in there. There is still no timeline. A lot of people, I think, were asking if there's a timeline when they can actually go inside, and I know you've been up to date on this, Governor, and there's just saying hopefully that they might be able to go inside within the hour, but at this point they can't give a timeline because safety is first, obviously.
Well, they've had a great connection with the federal authorities, who are the real, bomb experts in the world, have been working hand in glove with the local authorities and Chief Oates and their team. So we have the greatest minds that there are trying to make sure that if it's possible to get evidence out of that apartment without detonating these booby traps, they'll do it.
Absolutely. And, before we went to the media briefing, you were talking about really the outpouring of support and the response we've been seeing. And one of the things is givingfirst.org. That's what you were talking about. Right. Tell us real quickly, what is that and what have you seen as far as response goes?
Well, givingfirst.org is I mean, we're going to just need to raise a lot of money for the families of the people that have been really injured, the victims' families. And so several of the hospitals came together, and rather than doing a whole ton of different funds, we said, all right, let's go ahead and have one fund, right? And so givingfirst.org is the place. We've already got $200,000 that's been committed as a match. Anything received this weekend will get matched. Mayor Hogan has been spectacular on this. What a great leader. He's just risen into a very, very difficult situation and been remarkable.
And you were talking about the long-term effects, not just emotional effects, but physical effects for those who are injured and some of the people you've already met, some of the victims' families.
Right. We know several of the victims who are going to have lifetime disabilities, probably going to have a hard time. Certainly aren't going to be able to do the work they were doing before. So we're going to have to retrain them. What we want to raise money for is to make sure that we have some resources to support them.
I know you were there out there at Century 16 yesterday for the briefings and stuff to see just a lot of the activities there firsthand. Today, what's your focus today? What are you planning to do?
Well, I'm going to try and just go out and listen to the families of victims, go to the different hospitals and try to be useful. In a funny way, you almost, when you're around this so intensely, you almost get a little bit of the what they call it sometimes a survivor's guilt, where you feel so deeply just the pain and the suffering and the intensity of what people are living through, and you want to do everything you can. You almost feel guilty. It's not you, it's rather you than them. And you feel guilty in some ways to even try to be happy at this point because of all the tragedy around us. Yeah, but I think the part of the message here, and again, anytime, whether it's a business or an individual life, when you get something terrible happens, our job is to work through it and help lift those up affected. And we almost have an obligation to find joy in our lives again. My son, we were going to go to the movies last night just because it's crazy. If we stop going to the movies, we let this one deeply troubled individual, we let him rule, right? He shouldn't win, right? Yeah, absolutely. Real quickly, I know a lot of people, and I've been seeing this on tweets and stuff, and also through Facebook, people asking, for parents, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell my kids, and I don't know what to do from this point on. As a parent, what have you told your son, and how have you addressed this? Well, he heard the early news reports, and so I talked to him yesterday morning before he went off to his camp, summer camp, and, I think the key is to be honest, but to tell him, it's safe to go to the movies. This is a safe city. We live in one of the safest countries on earth, right? This is a freak of nature. In a funny way, it's like a lightning bolt in a drought sets a forest fire. You can't understand why it happened. It's beyond explanation, and yet it shouldn't. We can go on with our lives. So obviously, we want to mourn those who've lost their lives and support the survivors and their families in every way we can. But, we've got to keep going to the movies. We have an obligation to continue to the pursuit of joy and happiness. Or as you said, that person wins. So we need to come out the winners here. All right. Thank you so much, Governor Hickenlooper, for taking the time and stopping by. We really appreciate it. You bet. Good to see you. All right. We will, of course, continue to investigate the movie theater tragedy. We have crews working several angles right now, including our Call 7 investigators. We'll keep you updated on the breaking details throughout the morning right here on 7 News, at denverchannel.com, as well as Twitter and our Facebook pages.